What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Tuesday. Sorry we're a little bit late. KG, what can I say? You know, got to get those vibes in right in straight away. I'm just living up to the reputation at this point. As always, though, there's plenty of news stories, discussion, and debate to get into in the world of Manchester United. Joined this evening by what a stellar panel we have, guys. What a stellar panel we have this evening.
Not a bad lineup, is it?
Yeah.
I tell you what, we just need one more. We got a solid five-a-side team, I think. There, you know what I mean? I think it's solid.
And we'd do a better performance. We'd put up a better performance. At least we put a shift in, that's for sure, than some of the players in our starting 11.
Marcel's all right. Marcel's pretty decent, I'm hearing as well.
Yeah.
I've heard that. I've seen the training
I appreciate
videos.
you guys, man. Oh, this has been going around. I'm a baller.
Said he's a baller in that.
I mean,
and I'm a great keeper, so.
Oh,
There's
another
two.
keeper. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
65
Okay.
Two keepers. We're lacking
Super
balance. We're lacking balance. But before we get into anything this evening, because there is plenty to discuss, before we get into anything, bit of housekeeping as always. We are under 300 subscribers from 100K. Under 300, yes. Okay? Very close. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. While you're down there, not that we're asking much, but while you're down there, click the like button as well. You know, relax, put your feet up. You know, we're with friends here. We're with family. And there are, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say this, Flex, so I'm nervous. And like I said, this is always like when the head teacher's in the back of the room and he's taking notes for Ofsted. And I'm sort of pointing out to the class and I know nothing about maths. That's what it feels like at the moment. But there are big things planned for 100K. I'm not allowed to talk about it. If I do, Flex will fire me live during right now. So now's the time to subscribe. If you haven't already, you won't regret it. And super chats and super stickers are open as always. Click the $ in the chat. Right, guys. Europe is Champions League tonight. Of course, Manchester United. We're not in it. We're not going to be in it next season.
I shouldn't even be here right now. I should be.
No.
Oh, actually, according to the draw, I would only have been in Manchester. But still.
That's what you should be. That's what we should be discussing right now, yeah? We should be doing all that kind of stuff, but we're not, okay? No. But we are going to talk about Manchester United's European hopes for next season because Ralph Rangnick reportedly has been told by the board, this comes from Rob Dawson from ESPN, he's been told it's imperative for Manchester United to qualify for Europe next season, even if they miss out on a place in the Champions League. I love the even if. During the meetings with the board, Rangnick has been reminded that securing European football for next season is important for the club's finances, even if it's via the Europa League or Europa Conference League. Manchester United would have an easier schedule next season if there was no European football, but the dent left in the finances, although not catastrophic, would not go down well with the club chiefs. I'll start with you, Faz. What did you think about that story when it comes to the United board reminding Ralph Rangnick, look, okay, we still want to be in Europe next season. We don't even care what competition at this point. We just want to be in Europe. What do you think?
I said this a good few months ago to Flex on a fan cam, and I said, why do you think they want top 4? Exactly why. The fact that we aren't even capable of going into a competition in Europe and do any damage, that is alone, that speaks volumes alone. And then we're now putting this expectation on Ralph that, make sure you're in Europe, whatever. We don't deserve to be in Europe. I don't know why the board have put this expectation on him that, this reminder on him to go to make sure we end up in Europe. We don't deserve it as a squad. We simply don't. We haven't worked hard enough. We haven't shown any togetherness as a unit. We haven't shown any teamwork. No qualities at all to do anything in Europe. So what's the point? Why would you want to take your team into Europe only to get battered, by games in Old Trafford like Atleti did to us? They came here and they took us out of our own, of the competition that we should have been striving for. Ronaldo, Atleti, we thought, his record and this, that, the other, fumbled. We can't even do well in domestic cups. So I don't know why this sort of expectations is being put on the manager. And also, imagine the expectation they would put on Ten Hag if and when he comes in after his first season. Because all they want is they want the finances to line up at the end of the season. And I cannot stand with that at all. I don't want European football, personally.
Interesting. James with a super chat says Marcel equals the GOAT.
Yeah,
Greatest of all time. There you go. There you go. Dexter says Ralph is a flop. Short time, yes, but can be better. Interesting. I have seen a little bit of sentiment, shall we say, towards Ralph on social media. Marcel, since you are the GOAT, I'll come to you next.
Appreciate you.
I'm going to look at this from a bit of a positive spin.
That's
Since
good.
you're
That's
the positive guy. Well, it's not. This is me playing devil's advocate.
That's good. That's good. Marcel's like positive. That's good. That's
exactly.
Good. That's what I like. That's good.
Exactly. Does this show then that it's all about the money when it comes to the board, or could you look at it also as a situation of maybe the board reminding Ralph and the players, look, we're not going to tolerate this slide that's going on to the end of the season. Whilst we might not be making the Champions League, we still got to be winning games and having a bit of pride in the performance.
Yeah, exactly that. And I mean, Ralph, he hasn't been able to transcend that message onto the pitch. He hasn't been able to get that message onto the pitch from the players. I mean, the board, obviously, they want their dividends. They need to make sure that money targets are hit in terms of sponsorship. And at the end of the day, top world-class sponsorship deals won't be made if we're fifth and sixth. Sponsorships at the end of the day, they want to sponsor the best teams in the league, first, second, third. So they're not going to want to continue sponsoring Man United if we're not reaching the Champions League or at least the Europa season after season. And just as a pointer, Man United are one of the best teams or the biggest teams in the world. They're global, so they should be aspiring to Champions League. Ralph hasn't been able to get that message out into the players. We haven't been able to consistently play well this season, not even achieving 3 wins in a row. So it's them kind of things. And we're still in the conversation for potential Europe positions. It's just, I think Ralph just needs to be able to, put these players together and get some decent results, man, because I don't know. I feel like the board as well, they're really selfish if they think that, they're considering or concerned about Europe right now after the performance has been so poor. Players have been absolutely lethargic, not trying, not caring. We need a kind of a massive reset, guys. So I think Europe might need to take a rest potentially next season.
What do you think, Flex? We were discussing this before we went live this afternoon, and we were kind of going back and forth on it. I mean, what's your initial reaction to it when you hear that? Because it generates a bit of a gut reaction, and then you sort of have to think about it a little bit, don't you?
My thing is, because I'm emotionally checked out, right? So when I look at this type of situation where they're saying we need to get it, there's pros and cons in it. But I look at kind of what Faz was saying about deserving it, and actually what would be the biggest culture shock, or what would set up the biggest culture shock at Man United. And yes, if Ten Hag comes in, or whoever the manager is going to be, right, to have that extra Thursday game or whenever, it could be nice for him to, second-rate European competition, see how you go in that, bed in some players, whatever, work with it. I get that. But we've been doing this European thing the whole time. We've been shocking, and it hasn't sparked any change at the football club. I honestly feel like after seeing how we've been, we're not going to do well in Europe with them players. We've seen that we're not. So it's not about that. We're not even in a position to compete in Europe, whether it's the Europa League, which we didn't win by getting to the final, or whether it's the Champions League, which we either barely get out the groups or go out in the first round in the round of 16. So the biggest thing to accompany this reset for this football club, for me, the more I think about it, yes, there's pros about being in it, and it would be nice for a new manager to get a bit and money and stuff. Forget that. For me, I'm like, don't be in anything. Have that clear run of fixtures. Keep that squad fit and fresh, however it's built or assembled in the summer for the new manager. And part of your punishment for being so shit last year is, you're not involved in Europe. You don't deserve it. The Glazers don't deserve the extra bit of money that comes from being in the Champions. Well, we're not going to get Champions League, coming from being in Europe, or the scrap money, that the pennies, the pittance that comes from being in the Conference League. They don't deserve it. They deserve none of it. They deserve the full-on implications and ramifications of how shit this football club is run, which is Manchester United being not in Europe, having 1 game a week, sponsors not wanting to invest that much next year because there's not, they can't host all the delegates. They can't bring in all these companies and fill up all the boxes on a midweek night for a Champions League game or Europa League game or Conference League game. You don't get gate receipts from selling out tickets for whatever. No, this is what you deserve for how the football club is. And actually, it's a truer representation of where we are. I think it masks it. We've been masking getting into Europe each time, third, then second under Oli, and believing this hype train that actually we're doing all right. We're going in the right direction when it's just masking a lot of stuff. So I battled with this where I'm like, yeah, well, you know what? If it's going terrible, you do want to give the new manager something. I get that. And I get that sometimes it would be nice for him to, like I say, have some extra fixtures to keep everybody fresh, because if you want a big squad, you need more games, but they don't deserve it. And I don't even want this crop of players to even have that luxury.
I wanna say, if we do qualify for Europe, does Ten Hag deserve Europe? Sure. But then the embarrassment that we will face when we lose against the likes of Celtic, PSV, or we just underperform in those sort of leagues, we then become more embarrassing than we already are. And it's this will definitely cause dividing fan base who will say, well, how on earth do you bring this manager in? I'm running out of patience. I mean, this is Mickey Mouse Europe for him. He should at least do some damage. We're already increasing the expectation level. Sure, I understand when you come to the Manchester United job, you have a level of expectation, but it's baffling to me that the board would want someone who's only here for such a short time, putting so much, emphasis about the finances on top of him, rather than actually weigh out and see the season through, see one season with a proper manager, go on a build, and then have some realistic targets, and then have some targets to build on something. Why are you not doing this with the players then? Like the board members, are you not seeing the players how they're playing? Ralph has clearly come in this team and done something with the defense. But you still see players underperforming. You still see players lack of passion, lack of, teamwork, not playing as a unit, not doing their job correctly. Do you not emphasize this to them when you're giving them contract extensions? Are you not going to have this conversation with Luke Shaw? Are you not going to have this conversation with Marcus Rashford? So it doesn't make sense. It's just a clear show that they just care about the money, literally.
Just to jump in quickly, Faz, David Ornstein's just tweeted. Yeah, it's very, very big. He's just tweeted, quote, exclusive, Manchester United reached verbal agreement in principle with Erik Ten Hag to become the next permanent manager. Manchester United will need agreement with Ajax, brackets who are aware, to finalise contract up to 4 years. No announcement until after the Dutch Cup final. So that's just breaking in the last couple of minutes. And of course, it was Ornstein who broke the story when it came to Ralph being named as the interim manager, I believe, as well. So when he's going public with it as an exclusive, it's as good as gospel, essentially. So that's a massive story. I've got a couple of super chats to get to, and then we'll go to this Ten Hag stuff briefly.
Yeah.
James says, these players were down tools for Erik Ten Hag too. Clowns. And Santiago says, how much do you think achieving European football goal affects Ralph's influence as a consultant next season? You could have debate about actually what his influence is going to be anyway next season, irrespective of whether he gets European football or not. Ahmed says, not qualifying is only guarantee this board don't go back to their short-term way of thinking in player recruitment and contract extensions. At least this way, we don't go for the likes of Lewandowski. Interesting. And Dexter says, McTominay Maguire show Ralph Rangnick is not a top coach. Let's talk about the coach, though, but let's talk about this breaking story coming in the last couple of minutes or so when it comes to David Ornstein. Marcel, what's your initial reaction to that he's saying that the verbal agreement has been reached? Obviously, again, outlets were kind of saying that he was going to become the next manager anyway, but the fact that someone as, I guess, significant as Ornstein saying that a verbal agreement's been reached, what's your initial reaction to all that?
Proactive. We need to be proactive. We haven't been proactive for a little while. Hopefully this kind of, this momentum starts to spin into the transfer market where we're able to look at targets quicker, or we're very proactive in the market, getting in new players that Erik Ten Hag wants, that kind of thing. Because, we missed out on Conte. Conte looks like he might secure Champions League for Tottenham Hotspur this season. So, it's just a proactive move. We all anticipated him to be in. I think he's going to be revolutionary for the club, and I think he's going to be one of the best managers since Alex in terms of just offensive football, possession football. He's going to bring a lot more technical players in. So, this is good news.
This is actually
Yes.
this is a big breakthrough, because I think when you look at David Ornstein, he's one of the most reliable out of the lot. I think he's one who does his due diligence. He waits on things, but when he does go strong, he comes with it. And actually, the Athletic are reporting this. This is the actual article that they've actually put up as well. This is the details from it. Manchester United have reached an agreement in principle with Erik ten Hag to become their next permanent manager. It is believed to be a verbal agreement. Here's the interesting bit. He's expected to join on a contract to run for up to 4 years. So it's fairly lengthy. I would like to say, boom, 5 years. There you go. But okay, it's reported to be a 4-year deal. Ajax are aware of the situation and still need to reach a deal with United. So let's stress that hasn't been done yet. United will also need to finalize details and documentation, while there will be no written agreement or announcement until after Ajax face PSV in the Dutch Cup final on April the 17th. On the weekend. The Athletic understands his coaching staff will also be finalised in due course. United want to be respectful to both Ajax and Ten Hag as they have a cup final to play, and they are still seeking to be champions of the Eredivisie. So there's a little bit more on that which we'll touch on, but there you go. I mean, that was basically what was happening a lot, wasn't it? We didn't hear a lot because when we was talking to Ajax, he was saying, "Look, we're still playing for something. Speak for yourselves. Your season dead and buried, but over here in Holland." Things are still going on, Faz. You can't just say you want this and we just go, oh, okay, forget our Dutch title, forget our Dutch Cup final. It doesn't work like that, does it? And we've had to be patient with this, but it looks like a major breakthrough now, Faz.
It's good for him, you know. Hopefully he wins the cup final, and he'll also win the league, and he comes with confidence, and he can say farewell to his club, and you know he can part ways respectfully. And like I said, there has to be an extreme level of respect between United and Ajax, because there's a current relationship there that you don't want to damage. So United are going to be very cautious of that. But this is very good progress. This is progress in the right direction. Took a while, but we're getting there. If we're getting, you know, by the looks of it, we are getting him. So it's progress in the right direction. 4 years as well. It's very interesting. I think 4 years is a good amount of time. I was saying in all conversations that personally, I would like to give him 3 years to give me something. And then the 4th year is when you really like, you know, saying, okay, what are you doing now? So 5 years might be a bit too long. 3 to 4 years would actually show what he's capable of, to install his, ethos, style of play, get the players in, get the players out, maybe go in for a few domestic cup runs, and then a bit of Europe. So 3 to 4 years seem fairly reasonable.
Yeah, and then obviously with that, if it's going well, you look at an extension, don't you? If you've got a 4-year or up to a 4-year contract, it's getting to 2.5 years. You've only got sort of 1 year left, 1 and a bit years left. You then start to negotiate if it's gone in the right direction. Marcel, I mean, it's something that we've waited for a while, haven't we, to get some real kind of movement on. We had it last week, and then it went quiet. But now, I mean, when like I said, when Ornstein is definitely a tier 1 journalist, when he comes strong with something, that's it for me. For that, I'm in now. To me, that's done. You know, I was a bit skeptical before. You still don't want to go the whole way because there's still a little bit of, you know, stuff to do. I don't think it was ESPN reporting it last week, but this carries more weight. How are you feeling in terms of giving a little bit of a lift towards the end of the season, or is that's done? The players are dead and buried. Forget that. It's just about getting through. Or do you think this could be a little bit of a tiny bit of a lift at all?
Nah, this is definitely not a lift at all, unfortunately. I would like to think that it would be, but, you know, I think there's so much work to do within the club, so many variables, so many different things that we need to work on, that this is immaterial to what's going to happen for this season. But I would like to really go on that 4-year contract point. I feel like that shows maybe that the club sees that this is going to be a long-term plan. They're willing to pay for someone for 4 seasons. That's a really good thing. And, you know, and a lot of good things heading towards next season have been starting to be put in place. Edward Wood leaving, you know, we got director boards coming in, head of director, Fletcher coming in. We've had a lot of changes to the hierarchy of the club happening, and hopefully going forward into the next season, something will change. As for this season, I don't know. Our hopes can be, you know, a couple more wins out of the next 7 games, because there's a couple in there that should be won. But these players, like people have been saying in the comments, like we've been saying, they've been down tools in managers ago. So, it's going to be a continuous cycle, and we need a manager now that has a new philosophy and a style to come in. And this report is only good news.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we've read these ones already, but I'll read them again anyway. Ahmed says, not qualifying is only guarantee this board don't go back to their short-term way of thinking in player recruitment and contract extensions. At least this way, we don't go for the likes of... Oh, yeah, we did read that one, actually. Yeah, you did. And I think you read that one as well, Owen, Dexter, yeah, McTominay, Maguire. Yeah. Big up to... Leaf says, Flex, that is gospel. Glazers cannot set these demands on an interim that didn't even get a small player that he wanted in January. It's sickening. And Sam, big up for the contribution. Sam just says, big up the squad. Love, big up the squad, man. Thank you, Sam. Really appreciate that, man. Always loving you come through. And CJ K says, the news of Ten Hag should give a boost, maybe, which is kind of what we were just talking about. Marcel doesn't think so. Any change in the immediate, Faz, for you? Like, if this gets... Well, it's not going to get announced till later on, but yeah.
What change? Well, the players are going to read the news and say, oh, I've got a new coach coming in next season. I better start performing. No, it don't work like that. It will never work like that with the bunch of players that we have now. There's something fundamentally wrong in our mentality, in the way we play, in the way we perform on and off the pitch as well. You know, the way Ronaldo reacted after the Everton game is I've never, ever seen that crazy in my life. From Ronaldo. I would never expect that. If someone would bet any money, I would bet against it, because I could never expect that. So there's something clearly wrong inside the dressing room, 110%. Nothing changes. Rashford's form doesn't change overnight. Maguire's touch and ball playing abilities doesn't change. De Gea's distribution doesn't change. Wan-Bissaka's ability to cross doesn't change. You know, these things don't change just because of this news. And these are fundamental things that need to change if these players are going to stay next season, which most likely a lot of them are. We just have to see this season out, and we just have to kind of pray and beg that we don't get hammered everywhere we go and any team that comes and plays us.
Because that's that patience thing. I mean, we spoke about it a little bit last week, innit? Like the patience that's going to be needed for this new manager and how it's going to work, because he obviously wants he wants a lot of reassurances that he can change a lot. But hearing that in the media versus seeing that from when he comes, I think it's so intriguing to see, because I just want to see proof. Like, I don't care about what's been written in the media and he doesn't want to do this or he wants to do that. I need to see it. And I think this summer is going to be so key in really seeing if he can get a change out of this squad, because I think everybody, a lot of people anyway, that we've spoken to, a lot of you guys on here, a lot of you guys in the community are resounded to the fact that this squad can't change. Do we agree on that? Or do we think actually Ten Hag's such a good manager, he could actually change a lot? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Out of this squad, yeah, we all know all players. Who do you think are the players who actually could have a transformation under a really good manager if they were to change the surroundings plus buy into what a new manager's doing? I don't know. Start with you, Owen. Who do you think? Who comes to mind?
It's difficult to say, because I think that from what we've heard about the Ten Hag style, right, the possession-based style, I think there might be some players in there that want to be able to adapt and want to be able to change. I do question how many of them will be able to, in the sense of their qualities, you know, in possession-based football, technical ability. We don't have a ton of real proper technical players in the squad.
Exactly.
I do think of, you know, it's funny with this Ten Hag stuff. You know what I was watching last night? So it came up on my recommended. It was like Ten Hag speaking perfect English in press conferences, because there's this weird thing out there that he can't speak English very well.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got educated in English. Like, he's done full press conferences in English. And he was doing this interview and he was speaking about Donny van der Beek, who just come into my mind. And he was saying, you know, he's a multifaceted player. He can be an offensive player and a defensive player. I think obviously you would see him absolutely get more opportunities. He's already bought into the Erik Ten Hag style of play. So that seems like a natural fit. I look at people like, It's tough to say, isn't it?
I look at people like it's tough to say. I haven't seen that player before.
No, I think someone like Bruno Fernandes, right? I think technically he can play in a Ten Hag style of system. He's got the technical abilities, but his natural game isn't necessarily ball retention, is it? It's like very quick, very fast, long ball over the top, try and get an assist quickly. That's a different kind of adapting, isn't it? For him, it would be an adapting of, can you adapt your game? Whereas other people have to actually adapt their qualities. That's what kind of worries me about the performance at the weekend. I was talking to a few friends of mine about this. Like, you look at that starting 11, majority of those are going to be in the squad next season. Like, that's the worry, isn't it? Like, realistically, Pogba's probably not going to be there. But apart from who else was playing, I think everyone else in that starting 11 is probably going to be in the squad next year. And again, I look at the Ten Hag thing and I go, there's a lot of buy-in there, which they haven't done in the past, or they're going to be told to go. So I don't know. To answer your question, Flex, I don't know. I've been on the fence a lot.
After all that, I don't know. Luxhill says, I broke the news in the chat. New team member. Luxhill was saying, get on Twitter. There's an Ornstein tweet. He was the first to break it in the community. Big up to you, Lux. Team player as always. Nate H says, let Harry enjoy his last 6 weeks as captain. LOL. I don't think I don't know. I don't think so. I could be completely wrong. I just don't think Eric Ten Hag. I do.
You don't think he's? Do you think he? The thing is with that, it's a quick win, isn't it? It's a quick win for Ten Hag. He could come in and the way to frame it is easier than for any other manager, right? Obviously, it was Ollie's appointment. Ralph. Yeah. What's Ralph going to do? He's not going to come and change the manager the captain mid-season.
Yeah, he's never
going to with that dressing room. He doesn't want to alienate people. Blah blah blah. Ten Hag, he can just come in and just go, look, it's a different regime.
That would set the thing. Oh, that would be insane. But I want him to. I just don't think he will.
But you don't think he will.
But to be fair, I need to see the minerals here in it. It's all good puffing out your chest, doing it at Ajax, Eredivisie. You've got the amazing structure. You've got amazing power. You've got an amazing backroom set up who really support you and give you all the tools. And then coming to Manchester United at Carrington and having your first meeting and saying, you ain't captain anymore. Straight away, off the bat. If he does that?
If he did it, who does he replace him with?
Bruno. It's Bruno Fernandes, guys. Who else is going to be?
It's Bruno or De Gea if he does that.
The hair doesn't speak enough. The hair doesn't speak enough. It doesn't speak enough. I feel like it's Bruno.
He was speaking to the media. He was speaking to the media after the game, was he not? David De Gea was one of the only ones that actually
Bruno and David, yeah. I don't think they always choose as well. I think sometimes they get nominated or whatever. I don't know if it's a case of I'll do it but really for me, the captain should be speaking with a lot of these shit performances. If you're
Bruno's good. Bruno's good in the media as well, guys. He's good in the media. He speaks very honestly and very well in the media. Whereas De Gea doesn't really speak on the pitch and speaks in the media. Yes, Owen, but he doesn't speak much on the pitch.
How do we know that? We haven't played on the pitch.
I'm going with the eye test.
Right.
I'm going for what I see.
But some captains don't need to speak on the pitch, right? Some of the best captains, what do they lead by? Performance.
Owen, right? Marcel wants De Gea gone. We know this. That's what's happening here.
I know. And guess what? That is the hill that I would on. Because the counter argument to the Bruno thing would be, do you want to have a guy? I mean, you were both there at the game at the weekend, right? You were saying Bruno was whinging for the sake of whinging at the weekend.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy his passion, but do you really want your captain to be that guy that's I'm not playing well, so it's their fault?
I think we got a massive problem. Danny says Europa League great for blooding the kids, lads. True, that's what I'm saying. That was one of the plus bits of if Ten Hag comes and he's got Europa League, you could say, I want to try these players or whatever. It's just a complete experiment. We're obviously in it to win it. We're Man United, but after the back of last season and this rebuild that I've got to do, just take the prep. Just don't have an expectancy of me and let me try that. But there's still got to be a little bit of expectancy, a little bit. You know what I mean? You still want to win games. You still want to compete. But I think we have to be kind of realistic of what that is. But I just think it lets the owners off the hook personally by getting some form of Europe. I think because when you get Europe, say we miraculously got Champions League. Yeah, this is obviously not going to happen. Exactly, Faz. I know it's funny. Cal
Marcel.
Never know.
Gonna happen, yeah.
That's not gonna happen.
No, we know, bro. You know. You said you've been broken. Don't forget. Yeah, you can't go back. You said you're done now.
Yeah, I know. I'm done. I know.
All right, cool. So if let's just say for hypothetical sake, we miraculously got Champions League this year. all that would happen is they'll try and go after the best. Oh, we're in Champions League, so let's try enter the tour. Let's try and do the 150 million Rice, or let's try and do the 100 something Kane, or the splash the big bucks because we're in the Champions League. We've already got Rashford. We've already got Ronaldo if he stays. We've already got Bruno. Yeah, let's add the sprinkle dust on that. No, the squad's shit. Like, it needs to be ripped up and started again. Yep. So if you get Champions League, I believe the owners would then fall into the whole, you know, we can just add to this and try and put no, the whole reset is needed. Nate H says, so if you do research on Ten Hag, you'll know that he loves what he loves is two-footed players. How many of those do we have? He won't fancy many of this group. So answer the question about how many players would be able to convert. And Nate H also says, to be fair, Flex, you aren't right very often, LOL. I'm not, but there you go. About which bit?
Especially when it comes to score lines.
I'm definitely not right when it comes to scoreline. But that was Marcel's fault, though, because he was in the car being positive. I said I didn't believe it. That's my fault.
Yeah, I know.
Big up, Nate H. Just on the captaincy thing, I think we actually got a problem because in the chat, be honest, everyone was kind of undecided when Bruno even got the extension. There has been times over this Harry Maguire reign because he's been so bad. They're like, just give it to Bruno. He's the only one who runs around. He's the only one who delivers, etc., etc. When you do see that side of his game, the petulance, the whinging, the arms up, I don't mind being a shit loser, but I feel like sometimes he takes it out on his teammates. I do get that. You can argue that makes you a...
Hey, you didn't run.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? When he's effed it up, I see him turn around, tell Leslie. He does it to the weaker players. I'll be honest. He's a little bit of a bully sometimes. Like,
he picks on Fred a lot of the times.
He don't do it to Pogba. Don't say nothing to him. Don't say nothing to Ronaldo, obviously. Do you know what I mean? There's certain guys he doesn't really do it to. And I'm like, is Bruno the captain that we would actually want? Or is it just, would we only give it to Bruno because it's that bad under Maguire? And would that just give us a different type of problem, Faz?
I wouldn't give it to Bruno. I would give it to the person who most, probability-wise and numbers-wise, it makes the most sense. He would get the most respect, naturally.
Who is that?
You all know who it is. Imagine you have handful of Ballon d'Ors. You have more goals than any human on earth. You're bigger than some clubs combined. And you go and have to say, you have to go every morning into Carrington. You go and say, hello, Captain Maguire. Hi, Cap. Yes, Cap, you're right. No, ego it can be bad and it can also be good. It can also be used for positive to strive forward. And we know Ronaldo has a big ego because that's how he uses that ego to perform. He's used it year in, year out. If he was the captain, in my opinion, I think we would start seeing a bit more shift in terms of mentality, because who else do we have who has the caliber, who has the CV, who has the pedigree, who has the background of winning, constant winning? Bruno, I understand he whinges and stuff, and so does Ronaldo. Ronaldo at times, his arms in the air.
Is it about that? I mean, if imagine your captain. And again, I understand there's an investigation going on about it and all that, but imagine your captain slaps a phone out of a hand. Imagine your captain kick the ball at the dugout. And I can imagine Ronaldo advocate.
I'd be scared.
I'm a big Ronaldo advocate.
No, but I'd be scared of my captain. I'd be scared.
What, through violence?
You know how I am. I like a bit. I like a bit of discipline. I like
some
a bit
people
of
in the comments are agreeing with Faz. Some people
might not even be there,
chance.
right?
But look, hear me out. When I'm seeing my captain, I'm sorry, just hear me out. When I'm seeing my captain go like this with the ball around and round in the centre back area, when I see my captain raise his hand when it's your own player that handballed it, silly things like that. We all know Maguire's capability and we all know how he plays. In essence, Maguire being a centre back, he's supposed to be one of the loudest players on the pitch because he's the second person who sees the game full after the goalkeeper. So he should be able to dictate players in front of him, as a centre back. And then on top of that, you're a captain as well. We don't see Maguire do much at all. And as his size as a centre back, he plays for England and XYZ. We don't see him. We literally do not see the captaincy side of him. So who else are you going to give it to? The nicest person in the starting 11, Fred, who's probably the nicest guy on the pitch. Do you give it to him? Make it make sense. Other than
But
Ronaldo.
Ronaldo's only going to be
or De
here for
Gea.
one season, Faz.
But
Ronaldo's
you
only
guys
gonna be
don't
here for
even
one
want De
season.
Gea. So giving it to De Gea, you want him out. You want him out because he can't distribute
don't.
the ball. So
I don't
who
want De
else?
Gea out.
And Ronaldo's staying anyways, let's say. Ronaldo's committed for another season anyways. It makes more sense. Rashford looks up to him. Hannibal looks up to him. Sancho looks up to him. Dallo and him get along. Fred and him get along. Bruno and him get along. Everybody looks up to Ronaldo. Everybody does. So I'm just going off probability and sense, logical sense. It makes logical sense to give him the band.
So you want a captain for one season?
But
What
then
happens
you don't
next
know
season?
if he extends because we don't know who else is going to be able to afford his wages. So that's another conversation to have afterwards.
So then you want a captain for 2 seasons only?
Well,
you need
look,
longevity with your captain. He has
sure,
got
but then
leadership
who do you
qualities,
give the
football
captaincy to? McTominay? Who do you give? It doesn't make sense.
Essentially,
Logical sense.
Some people say,
Logical
yeah.
sense.
potentially
Some
he
people
could
saying,
become
yeah.
a captain in the future, McTominay.
For sure. In the
Yeah.
future.
I'm
That's if he
putting a
stays in the
poll up.
club.
I'm putting a poll up. We need to talk about this.
Okay.
That's if he
There's
stays up.
a
But
I
for
think
load of
Bruno-
su- there's a
I
load
don't-
of super
you know what?
chats just now.
Heck yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind for the next 2 seasons give Ronaldo the band.
Guys, can't you remember Bruno last season carried us and changed the whole the feeling of our club?
And he plays like his back is
immense
hurting
last
now.
season for us. And
He plays like his back is hurting.
Pardon?
He plays like his back is hurting because he carried us last season. He played this season like his back is hurting.
No, but it's like we forgot about all the work that he done for us last season. The way he speaks about the club, the way he speaks in press conferences about the club. On the pitch, he complains and stuff, but he's only usually complaining to refs about decisions that haven't gone our way.
I hear
Trust
you.
me, Owen. He's only majority of the time it's to the ref and the liners and the officials because decisions haven't gone our way. Yes, it is to players, but he's not asking. He's asking for a better performance out of the players. So are thousands and thousands of fans in the stadium. We're all asking for better performances out of the players. And one of our best performing players over the last 2 seasons is demanding from other players for a little bit of more quality. It's just passion. If we were winning every week, winning 5-0, Bruno's not complaining that much.
If he tweaks his attitude, if he tweaks his approach, if he tweaks a certain bits of his personality on the pitch and actually, perform and acts like a captain, I can see him being a captain for sure.
Okay. Let me get them super chats out, Owen. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, Abub says possible improvement for Sancho, Lindelof, Bay, Tellez, David De Gea, Bruno Varane, Fred, Alanga. Outside chance for Rashford. Adios. How do you say that, Flex? Adios.
Adios, a los demás.
Spanish was never my thing. It was I did French and German at GCSE.
I think the S remains silent, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maguire as captain is also at fault for team performances. Next one, because there's quite a few. Chavez says Maguire will still be the captain, but will perform much better under Ten Hag. Maguire seriously underrated. We're pro Maguire.
I'm going. Goodbye. I'm going. I'm going. I'm done. I'm finished.
Victor says, I am excited until the board changes and owner. We need Ten Hag. We need to get Ten Hag his players. We do not want another Donny van der Beek wasted 40 million Maguire. And sure, maybe will Donny be wasted though if Ten Hag manages to get a tune out of him. Kristen says Van der Beek will be captain. He's the only player Eric Ten Hag can trust. And James says Ronaldo is the only viable option. Yes, Faz. So you're getting support there as well. And you guys have gone soft. Owen, that's hypocritical stuff. Imagine a captain who can F things up. Yup, Cantona, Keane, and Vidic all did crazier stuff. Well, I did see in the chat with the Cantona thing, he captained Man United many times, and that was after the karate kick, which is a fair, valid point. I don't really have a leg to stand on when it comes to that one. I would argue maybe different time. Right, maybe. Keane and Vidic, look, Keane did some crazy stuff as well. He's the same person that got his cruise ship screwed up, so he did it a season later and admitted it. So I don't know with the Ronaldo thing. I think also Marcel brings a good point about longevity there as well. To be honest with you, I think with the De Gea one, like I said, I don't think. Sometimes when you talk about goalkeepers being captains, people kind of turn their noses up at it. Oh, goalkeeper can't be captain, all that kind of stuff. I think, it's performance and tenure. Who's been there longer than David De Gea at this point, right? I mean, is that a factor as well there? I think maybe too. And Abub also says, Bruno is a potential captain only after mentorship and previous captains. And I think we're caught up there. Flex, what were you going to say?
Just quickly, Romano has tweeted. Sources close to Eric Ten Hag confirm at David Ornstein report. His appointment as a new Manchester United manager is at the final stages. Nothing signed yet. Backroom staff to be decided. No announcement expected this week. Ajax and Man United will be in contact about 2 million euros clause. So Romano coming through and retweeting Ornstein. Big up. That's it. It'd be interesting to see what the domestic journalists do as well. Actually,
very interesting.
Samuel Luckhurst, Laurie Whitwell, Simon Stones, those types of guys. Because once they jump on, yes, you may argue that they do it slow, but that's because again they check their lines of communication directly into the club. And if they get something strong, they will go with it. So let's see what happens with that. But I think this again from David Ornstein does that too. He's very good and he checks his lines of communication. So I think if he says it, he's definitely in. Have we read that one from Ahmed?
No, this is the latest one.
Okay. Marcel, Bruno definitely not captain material. He's already causing us missing calls because of his attitude with refs and theatrics every time an opposing player touches him. I think we're not getting the calls from the refs because he's always moaning and he's just becoming that guy. Well, let me give you guys the results not the results, but as it stands, the poll's only been up 4 minutes. Bruno 22%, Ronaldo 37%, David De Gea 36%, McTominay / other 5%. It's close. The two obviously leading candidates are Ronaldo and De Gea. It's 1% in it at the moment.
What do you think the reaction is? Like, if it was any of those players, right? Do you think just the general sentiment would be glad to get it off Maguire, or do you think there would be a sort of follow-up discussion of, is Bruno or is it Ronaldo the right guy? Or because I just
amongst the players or people?
No, but amongst the people, I feel like maybe the fans would just be like, whether or not they necessarily agreed that, say, Bruno or Ronaldo was the right person, I kind of just feel like the general sentiment would be any person's probably the right call, don't you think?
Anyone but him.
Yeah.
You're saying. Yeah, I feel like players like Ronaldo and Bruno, I would say, have more business being a captain at Manchester United than Harry Maguire. However, mate, I'm not having Ronaldo captain for me. I'm not. I think the problem that we've got is and again, it's indicative of the squad, and it's why it needs ripping up and starting again with the right characters. You look at the team. Marcel spoke about it with his fan review the other day. He said we're spineless. Like there's no natural leaders. There's no one in there who naturally commands. Ronaldo will command because he's Ronaldo. That's his aura. That's his presence. That's like what Faz was said. I've won 5 Ballon d'Ors. Do you know who I am? I'm Ronaldo. You can't even. Harry Maguire, you can't even tell me what to do. There's that. So Ronaldo would do it from that. Bruno has some leadership qualities in terms of when things are going well, you do look at Bruno as someone initiating the press. Look how much he cares. He's buzzing about the pitch. He's working hard. Yeah, and all of that. But when it goes wrong or when it doesn't go quite his way, I don't think he probably acts like a captain should. And then other than those two in terms of big personalities, who else is there at the whole football club? David De Gea has had his chance. It got taken off him. Little bit quiet. Yeah, okay, he's not the most commanding keeper. He's not a shouty kind of aggressive kind of guy to whip passes into shape. But the longevity and the calmness of him.
Tenure. It's tenure, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tenure. Other than that, Luke Shaw, he's had a long tenure. Wouldn't say Buta Agoos could never be a captain. Eric Bailly never plays. Varane's always injured. Maguire is the captain.
Big for you. Big for you saying that as well, Flex.
Just the truth. Just the truth. Wan-Bissaka, Dalot, obviously not. Fred, I don't even know if his English is that good, but his is more lead by example, always puts in 100%. McTominay, quality's just not there. Although coming through the youth rank, gets it, passion, has that. So, yeah, I could see that, but no. Bob was off. Rashford, going through so much, definitely doesn't need any more responsibilities on top of the ones he's got. Martial going to leave, and he's probably the most quietest person ever. Donny van de Beek can't get a game. Jesse Lingard's going to leave. Mata never plays. Matic never plays, or is probably going to leave. Like, what? I've just pretty much named the whole squad. Like, there's nobody. So I think actually that is probably the biggest issue that we have to pick out of probably poor candidates. Because imagine Ronaldo's the captain, yeah? You can't have your captain when the shit gets shit or the tough gets going, just throwing arms up and walking off and not clapping the fans as a Manchester United captain.
Or going back home.
Well, yeah. Do you know what I mean? I just think that sends out the wrong message. Like, and he'll probably be gone if he even stays this season. He'd definitely be gone next year. Obviously, he's got a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
He's
Maybe
not
giving him the band actually at 37 years
calm
old.
him down.
Yeah, maybe it shows him, you know what, you've come back to your, boyhood club, and you're now the captain,
I
and
think that.
you have to now lead this team to something, at least something in the next 2 seasons, maybe. So he might actually change his perspective and his behavior on the pitch. I think it can happen.
Question, guys.
UAH just says our captain does not play in our club yet.
Yeah, question.
Right.
Following a segue from that, if
Yeah.
Declan Rice came to the club, would you make him captain?
No. I'm not paying 100 million plus for a captain.
Could you imagine the pressure? Can you imagine the
That's
pressure?
That's
150
one. No,
million,
what's your answer?
150 million, and then he gets the band as well. Can you imagine the pressure?
Bro,
Well, it's basically Harry Maguire again,
I
isn't
was
it?
just about to say that. If we did that, one, it'll be typical Man United. It'll be this Man United that hasn't changed. Yeah. That if they did that, it'll be the same Man United. And I think that armband will weigh too heavy as well as the badge, and it'll be West Ham fans will be laughing to the bank. Even though they really do rate him and call him amazing and know how good he is, he will not be worth 150 million pounds.
So what about Harry Kane then?
What? Let him come and be the captain.
Same thing, same question.
I'm gonna leave this conversation right now. I'm cutting my camera.
Same question, guys. Harry Kane.
No.
He's not coming anyway, Marcel.
No,
is he?
and he's not
Let's be
coming.
honest.
Don't put me through
The
this.
problem
Are you
is
doing this on purpose.
Yeah.
You guys must have planned this to try and blow my head off today by bringing all these.
So Faz, you're saying you're staying at that point there. You're saying just give it to Ronaldo for one season, and you believe that will settle things down, settle him down. And do you think he would act accordingly? Say Manchester United lose at home to Liverpool, not as bad as last time, but 2-0 next season, and Ronaldo's the captain. Does he stay and clap the fans? Or you're saying it doesn't matter that he does or not?
I think he does. I think there's room for change there. He came in and there was a lot of expectation from the club and from the squad. And look at what position we're in. He's going to be naturally devastated. He's going to be naturally upset. It's the first time in nearly a decade he's not won nothing. So this is extremely abnormal for him to go through this phase. So he's obviously going to be feeling some type of way. I think for 1 season, 2 seasons, maybe so. Because other than that, you guys have just run through the whole squad and you've mentioned there's actually no one else that you could give the man to other than maybe bring £100 million CDM and then slap the man on his arm, just like we did with Maguire and being the typical United that we are. We shouldn't be doing that. Bruno, you've dissected him. You think he has? I think Bruno could be a captain, but again, that's another thing. He needs to.
You have to rein that in.
Yeah, he needs to amend some certain aspects of his personality, of the way he speaks to players on the pitch. But I could see him as a captain, and it makes somewhat sense because he has the most. He's just signed a contract extension as well, so he's going to be here for the longest. So it makes sense. But other than Ronaldo or Bruno, there's no one else really to have that conversation. And if Ronaldo's going to be here for another season or two, I'm just going off personality and what he brings, isn't it?
By the way, when it comes to Ten Hag, I was just about to say, I probably could have said the same thing. There's been quite a few more tweets about it. I can never pronounce this guy's last name, but he's the one that's based in Holland. Mike, how do you say that? Verwijge? That's probably not right at all. But he's the one who works for the Telegraph in Holland, who said that after reports of RB Leipzig's interest in Ten Hag, Manchester United went ahead with negotiations with Ten Hag's management as they gained momentum. So basically, strings were pulled, which again was kind of the theory behind that one. They're also confirming on the Dutch side of things, Marcel van der Kraan from the Telegraph in Holland as well, basically saying the same thing, that Ten Hag will become the Manchester United manager for the next 3 seasons, possibly a 4th. He's reached a verbal agreement with Manchester United about a multi-year contract. Romano's also tweeted again in the last couple of minutes saying that Ten Hag is described as, quote, satisfied by Manchester United's plan to make important decisions together with him. That's why he wanted a long-term contract, backroom staff and buyout clause, €2 million, payment to be discussed soon in order to complete the process.
Before we carry on, we'll go straight back into that. Giovanni says, Flex, you solved it. By default, it is Maguire, LOL, who is captain. And Shavish says, if Maguire is being sold, who would buy him? Big question.
Leicester.
No way. No way they would. No
Whole
way.
City, whole City, his old club, whole City.
Yeah,
Derby.
maybe. Yeah, Rooney could do a bit. Yeah. Ibrahim says, Cristiano is 37. He's not changing. He thinks it's too late for him to change. Alfonso Davis talking about Maguire was crazy, says Troy. Yeah, he went in. Alfonso Davis.
Yeah,
he went in. And let me just make sure these ones down here have been read out. Ibrahim also says Bruno's attitude gets in the way. Cristiano smacked the phone off a fan. I'm out. Absolute head loss. Yeah, imagine that. I forgot what I was going to say now about the captaincy thing, but oh yeah, that was it. An update on the poll. Oh, now it's David De Gea who leads the way. Maybe they. I think the viewers have heard a little bit extra from both sides, and it's swung. The pendulum has swung ever so slightly to David De Gea. Still time to get your votes in. Who should be the next Man United captain? Should it be Bruno, Ronaldo, David De Gea, or other / McTominay? Be interesting to see what happens there. The Ten Hag stuff obviously is, what's breaking, and the more coming out, I'm just getting my head around it more. He is going to be our manager. I know we've known that ish for a while, but we really do know it now. And it's like, I don't know, man. I'm excited.
I have a couple of questions for you, Flex.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions for you. First question would be that kind of what Romano said about he was satisfied by United's plan to make important decisions together with him. It goes back to him making the demands about wanting some kind of control, that kind of stuff. I saw an interesting thing. I think it was from James Ducker from The Telegraph earlier today, basically saying that actually United managers have always had a veto when it comes to players. Like this idea that maybe players just kind of showed up isn't necessarily completely accurate. I think that's quite interesting. And my second question was going to be, they talk about backroom staff. Let's maybe start off with that one. Backroom staff. What kind of backroom staff do you want to see him bringing in? Do you want a complete start over from fresh from what we've got?
Yeah, start over from fresh, man. I mean, I understand, yeah, it's a new league. So do you want a Mullenstein next to him who's been here and done it before and knows the league? Do you want a Steve McLaren who's been there next to him? If one of those guys want to be the advisor / assistant, okay. But all the coaches, the whole staff, I want to see a whole change, complete change. I mean, Yapstam was talking about, I owe a lot to Manchester United. I would love to come back if the role was right. Talks about Van Persie. There's loads of stuff that's going on. We'll have to wait and see. I think that would just be. It would just be ridiculous to get into entertaining those rumors. It could be anyone. We don't know. But the main bit of your question, though, do I want a fresh start? Yes. I don't want him trying to change coaches that have been there under Oli, under Ralph, under Jose, whoever's still there knocking about. And him trying to change them to his way of doing things. It needs to be a fresh start. A fresh start means you strip everything down to its bare bones. If you renovate a house and stuff like that from scratch, and you say you're gonna do it from scratch, you don't keep loads of stuff. You start with an empty shell. The structure, i.e., the football club, is the same. The structure of the house is the same, but within it, all the contents in it and all the rooms, and you replaster everything, you rewire everything, you do the flooring again. You don't just keep the same stuff and then get some varnish or some paint or some wallpaper and just try and paper over the cracks, as they say. So they have to start fresh, complete clear out for me.
Faz, you've been quite vocal about that in the past, saying that one of your big things you wanted to see was a new backroom staff. Do you think what Flex is saying there, that it just needs to be complete rebuild when it comes to the coaching side of things?
Yeah, 100%, 100,000,000%. The lot of them can go. Absolutely, the lot of them. If I'm getting a new manager and I'm going on a build, I want a whole new backroom staff with him that will agree with his mentality, that will agree with his ethos, that will be in the same wavelength as him. Not a person scrolling on his phone. Not a person who's supposed to be a director putting up cones in training
stuck,
ground.
Flex. That's so on you as well. That's stuck with Mike Phelan at this point.
Guys, I'm not gonna lie to the community. I'd say what I saw. Say what
But I've seen it, Flex. It's not.
Yeah.
I may not have seen
He
him
does,
on the
isn't
phone.
it? He does just do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I sit
Chilling.
right next to you. So I see the same thing you see. And not only that, I see him hands behind like this against the wall like this, just counting how many fans are there in the stadium. Yeah, but the set piece coach is the first person that needs to exit the club. Like, please, we need to escort him out the building. The set piece coach needs to go.
No, but we've conceded less though, Faz, than we used
I don't
to.
care, and we've scored less.
No, we
The
scored
aim
more.
of the game is score as well, isn't it?
We scored more.
Is it not to score? We don't score. We've
we
got a
scored a
huge
couple
centre
more.
back that we can't utilize. We've got one of the best players who can be of aerial threat, and we're not able to utilize him. We're not able to get goals out of him from aerial battles, from crosses, from corners. We're not. Yeah, we're defending better, but look at the position we're in. Still, it doesn't make sense. It needs to go. A whole new backroom staff, new faces, so the players they don't have this thing where, well, such a coach was like this with me when Ole was here, so I can go and speak to him and he'll be okay with me. It needs to go. The players need a full reset where they need to build a whole new relationship with the coaching staff, and it just needs to be a brand new chapter. Not a single person from the last 3-4 years or whatever 5 years can be in this club. Period. From coaching perspective, everybody needs to go. The dinner, except for the dinner lady, physios, everyone can go. Everyone can go.
Yeah, I did right feeling counting fans, like literally 1, 2.
I'm telling you, that's what he does. He's literally just stood there like this. Maybe next game that I'm there against Norwich, I'll video him.
There's a goalkeeping coach as well. I've always seen him, old guy. Kind of just waddles about. He's obviously been there for a while. He's a nice guy. But I just every time I see the warm-ups, I just see him just collecting stuff. I just think like, and I don't mean this in a rude way. You guys know I'm not a rude person, but every time I see him, I'm just like, he can't be the best in class at that. He can't. Like, it just kind of I don't know his name. I need to get the list of coaches up, but maybe someone will know. But if you ever go to the games and you see the warm-ups and stuff, there's this, look out for this. There's like an older guy. He was on tour as well last time he was there. He's been there a while. Kind of just rolls the balls out for the keepers and, gets things in. I don't know whether it's just something he's been there a while, so they want to just keep him around. But I just look at him, it's like, I can't be serious, man. Like, that can't be the best in class. It's just an observation. And every time I see him, I'm just like, come on, man. Just come on, boys. Just change this. Just change this thing. Just change it. Change it.
If you're going to be giving Ten Hag the power, that's what he's requested, that he's going to have the power and everything. He needs a team, he needs to have a team, because Ten Hag's not always going to have, he's not going to be training the goalkeepers and the left backs and right backs. He needs a full team to be able to be on the same wavelength as him, so that the players have nowhere to hide on training or on the pitch, off the pitch, whatever it is. It's just a full, proper system of hierarchy that is installed into the players, because right now that's not the case. It doesn't seem like the case at all. Players, I'm reading things where players don't believe in the CV of certain coaches, and they may be tired of certain aspects of the training and this, that, the other. There's always something going on. So a whole set of new group of people to coach them and teach them football is the best way forward, so they have nowhere to hide.
Wild. Are you reading that one, Flex? Sorry, I was reading something on Twitter.
Yeah. Ronaldo says, if we were in the right trajectory, what year do you think we'll win the Prem?
That's
if
a
we're
good
on
question.
the right, if we're on the right trajectory.
You got to consider that we're against a Klopp and a Pep who have built their teams. They're in great form right now. You got to consider that as well. But I would say maybe the 4th or 5th year.
If we're on the right trajectory.
If we're in the right trajectory. But I got a question though for you guys. In his first, what is Erik ten Hag's targets? Does he and if after 3 years we haven't won any trophies, do you have to get rid of him, or do you?
Ronaldo says, keep your phones away from me, boy. Watch out. Good question, Marcel. We spoke about this a little time before, and I said I don't want to answer it yet until I see what sort of summer we have. I need to see what sort of overhaul we have, because I'll tell you what, if, like Faz spoke about earlier, which I do agree with, well, I think will probably be right. If it's 85% of them players still there, nothing. because that's what I've seen under 3 different managers with them players. So how can I expect a manager to have them exact same players who have got all their managers sacked, who have down tools that many times, and expect him to win with them? I'd be the stupid one, in my opinion. So if it's the same players, nothing. If we get something that starts to look like an overhaul, i.e., you know, he made a big decision, like came straight in, Maguire's not the captain anymore. All of a sudden, he's not playing that many games, but he goes with a centre-back. He goes with a centre-back that's already there, but he's still trying to show something. And maybe the fullbacks don't play as much, and he changes it or brings in a kid. And then, do you know what I mean? You give him, you end up earning more leeway for different decisions depending on when and how they're made. So I can only really truly judge that on, like, I don't know, when does the transfer window shut? August 31st, something like that. Like,
can we expect that though, Flex? Do you think? Like you said
No.
that about like with the fullbacks and with the centre back and all that kind of stuff. How almost realistic do we have to be at this point when it comes to the summer? Because I think a lot of people are expecting this huge overhaul in the summer.
yeah.
And I just don't know how accurate that is.
It's going to take more than one window. It's going to take more. That window's, the first one's important to lay a stepping stone, you know, to show intent, to lay a foundation, to plant the seeds. Do you know what I mean? That are going to grow. So if you can make 2 statements, whether that's you got rid of two big players, there's some that are definitely going to go. So if Pogba leaves, you can't say, well done, Ten Hag, that's the first he's going to leave anyway.
That wasn't him, yeah.
Yeah, if Lingard leaves, which is going to happen, you can't say, we're getting the deadwood. If Mata leaves, Cavani, they're things that are default. That's default. Them players have to leave, which actually they all need replacing. So really, that's the start. At least Man United, I'm not giving them credit, but these players aren't going to get new deals. Lingard, Mata, Matic, and the other one, and Cavani. So
you think Mata's definitely not going to get another contract?
Nah, I would be really surprised. I think at this point,
he
he said that he wants to carry on playing. I think United might have just said, if Mata said, and this is just me speculating, but I think if Mata said, you know what, I might hang it up after the end of this season, I think then they might have had discussions of, okay, what can we do for you in the club? But he looks like he wants to carry on playing.
He deserves to play. He can go and play in Spain. He can go and play somewhere.
So I would, But I think next season, honestly, I think it's going to be painful. I think it's still going to be painful next year. I
don't think we're going to be spending big bucks this coming transfer at all. I think players are going to get called from loan, and I actually highly believe we're going to be able to utilize some of those players. I know people say Ahmad needs to. I know Marcel says it. Ahmad needs to fill out a bit more and etc. And he's also not actually getting much time where he's at now. So you know, and he did cost us quite a bit for his age. So it'd be interesting to see, you know, how Ten Hag comes in and utilizes Alvaro Fernandez if possible. Elanga, we don't have a left-footed winger on that side. That's a big problem in my opinion. Big problem. Anthony, maybe one player that we could bring in from Ajax. I don't know how much leniency Ajax will give us that we've taken their manager and we're now going to go and try and get a player as well. But hopefully we can possibly get Anthony. Good price, good age, good for the club, left-footed player. Ten Hag's already got a relationship with him. You know, that'll be interesting. And just get some young players in at this point. That's perfectly what we'll have to do. We can't go and spend big money. These £100 million English players is totally criminal. You cannot justify 100 million for Mr. Rice, or is it 60 million or 70 million for Calvin Phillips? There's a lot better options out there in the market that we can go for. And Ralph Ragnick will definitely have to do his job and try and help us buy player value for money, players who can add value in the future, not actually decrease in value, but add value for the future. That's how we have to go. So we should definitely not rush the first transfer window at all.
Vishal says, we need the next manager to do what Xavi is doing at Barcelona, get rid of the deadwood, get players who are young and hungry with a dash of experience, can work wonders under the right management.
Yeah.
Wow, what a crazy show that has been, by the way, guys. You start off thinking you're going to talk about one thing, news breaks, and you react as quick as you can. That's pretty wild. There's still over 1,300 people watching. So, guys, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like on the like button. I don't even know, Flex, how close we are to 100K at the moment, but I would hope we're inching closer and closer and closer. Flex is going to say what our final number is.
We are on. Was it going up? 99,729.
Oh,
Creeping. We're creeping. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We're going to be out of here, but I'm sure, Flex, like, we're going to be, well, more's going to happen. More's going to happen. So stay tuned. We're out of here. Have a good evening. Peace.